BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
All right, we're back. UFC Fight Night. Josh Emmett taking on Lerone Murphy here at the Apex. Not a bad card. I would say this is the appetizer card, right? This is the appetizer for the main event the following week in Miami. This is it's got some decent fights. I know the Brad Tavarez, he's fighting Gerald Meerschaert. That's a decent fight. There's a couple undefeated guys, Tavarez, Finney, Lerone Murphy, right, the big one. Let's get into it. So, actually, even before we start, there's some fight news. So we got Merab taking on Sean O'Malley 2. Not gonna lie, I do not like that fight. To be honest, I would much rather see Umar versus Merab 2, even though it just happened. I think that would be more competitive of a fight. Or more earned. It was more of a competitive fight compared to O'Malley and Merab. Merab just dominated O'Malley, crushed him every round. Other than maybe the 5th where he ate that teep kick. But it was one teep kick. I don't know if that's going to stop Merab Dvalishvili. That guy's an absolute monster. And then you got Carlos Pratez taking on Ian Garry, replacing the main event of Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill. That's actually a really good main event. Jamal Hill taking on Khalil. I really wanted to see that fight. Unfortunately, Jamal Hill had an injury. That fight is now being postponed, as they should. If I were them, I would not get Khalil another fight. I think they did the right thing of waiting to see which one of those guys is going to come out on top. I think that's a great matchup because they're both African Americans, right? Born in the U.S., and let's see who's better. And then you got the Brazilian at the top and the Russian Ankalaev at the champ there. So I think and then don't forget about Yuri Prohaska, the Czech Republic machine, just a destroyer himself. So if Khalil can get past Jamal Hill, which I think he was going to. I expected him to beat Jamal Hill. I would like to see Khalil taking on Yuri Prohaska. So unfortunately, that fight's not taking place. So we got Carlos Pratez taking on Ian Garry. I'm not gonna lie. I like Carlos Pratez. He's a great fighter, great striker, very high level striker. Hits hard, knockout power. Coming off 10 knockouts in a row. The issue is he doesn't have very good takedown defense. His grappling isn't that good, and that's going to be his hole in this game. And if you've seen the Shavkat fight, or if you've seen the MVP fight versus Ian Garry's a very, very good grappler, and his ability to actually get to the back is pretty good. He's a pretty high-level striker, and that's just a bad matchup, I think, for Carlos Pratez. And I think Ian Garry's smart because he's taking a young, dangerous contender that he knows he can out-grapple. So take that fight now before Carlos Pratez gets a little more well-rounded down the road. Very intelligent decision. I think that's a tough fight for Carlos Pratez just because of the grappling. If it's a pure striking kickboxing match, then yeah, I think I would give maybe Pratez even the edge in that just due to the power. But the fact that, his grappling isn't as good as Ian Garry's, I think. So I think Ian Garry's probably going to exploit that. I mean, Ian Garry even took Shavkat down, took his back, so that boy can grapple. So this weekend we got the 40-year-old Josh Emmett still doing the damn thing. Age 40, hits like a Mack truck, and he's taking on the undefeated Englishman Lerone Murphy. I'm surprised they didn't have Lerone on the England card. I mean, you got an undefeated Englishman. That's a no-brainer. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe it didn't work timing-wise. I don't know. I should maybe look into that. But I would have expected him to be on the England card. Yeah, so Josh Emmett, he was a guy who was right there at that title shot, right there, and just couldn't get past the cream of the crop guys. He couldn't get past Yair Rodriguez. He couldn't get past the Ilya Tavarez. No shame, obviously, losing to Taporia, but he's always had a trouble with those top guys. And now you're age 40. That being said, he is coming off a very big win over Bryce Mitchell. That overhand right, man, that was a bomb that he landed on Bryce Mitchell, an absolute bomb. And Bryce Mitchell was twitching for like 5 minutes after. It was one of the most brutal knockouts you're gonna see. And the issue is his age, and yeah, he's got a heavy right hand, decent wrestling, no jiu-jitsu. But the thing is, Lerone has a pretty decent chin, undefeated. And I think he's well-rounded, man. And the age is, at 40, at the lighter weight classes, it's tough. Heavyweight, you can be a little older and get away with it, because the speed doesn't really matter as much as the heavyweights, right? The speed at the lighter weight classes really matters, and that's the first thing to go is your speed. The power is usually the last thing to go. So, unfortunately for Josh Emmett, I think it's just time's up for him. And if, you lose this one, now you've lost 3 in your last 4. That's not a good place to be, man. But the fact that he's still in a main event tells you that the UFC still thinks very highly of him. The fact that you're in a main event position, that's big. That's big. Even though you've lost, 2 of your last 3 fights, you're still in a main event. So the UFC thinks highly of him, right? Same thing with Urseg. Up next, we got Pat Sabatini taking on Joe Anderson Brito. This is a really, really good fight. Both guys can grapple their asses off. Pat Sabatini, very good grappler, and Joe Anderson Brito has got very good wrestling and jiu-jitsu himself. The grappling here might actually cancel each other out because both guys are such good grapplers. The grappling actually might cancel each other out, and what you might have is just a stand-up match. And I like Pat Sabatini, but unfortunately, Pat Sabatini, his chin is a little suspect, man. I mean, Diego Lopez, Damon Jackson, they've cracked him, and his chin is a little suspect. Skill for skill, like if this was a sparring match, this would be very close. In fact, I might even take Pat Sabatini if it was just a sparring match. But the issue is, Brito, when he punches, watch his fights. This guy throws wild hooks from everywhere, like just wild. He doesn't even throw straight punches. This guy just throws everything in every shot. He literally just throws haymakers, and if one of those connect, it's gonna be lights out. And I think it might connect, man. So I'm gonna go with Joe Anderson Brito here, because I think he's gonna be able to. The grappling's gonna stuff each other, and then I think he just hits harder on the feet. Pat Sabatini's a decent striker as well, but yeah, I think if Brito finds his chin, man, he hits hard, dude, and he's got some KOs. Does Brito? He's been punching some people out. Like he knocked out Feely viciously, Andre Feely. He destroyed Andre Feely, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Brito on that one. Even though I really like Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini, I'm not gonna lie, that guy has won me some money, man. I put some money on Pat Sabatini. He's pulled through for me more than once, let's say. So, but I'm going against him this one. Cortavius Romious taking on Chang Ho Lee. Chang Ho Lee, the Korean. I'm not going to lie, I've only seen him fight twice. I've only seen him fight once. And that was against Long Xiao in China, I believe that fight took place. It was a fight night. He's only had one fight in the UFC. I know he was on that road to the UFC show, but yeah, I mean, he's a big favorite I see here over, even odds. Pretty much even odds, minus 135. I'm going blind. Yeah, so you got Cortavius Romious. He's coming off a loss to Gaston. To be honest, I haven't really seen too much of these guys. So like this guy's only had one fight in the UFC, and it wasn't even. It was just like I think it was a road to the UFC fight or whatever. I don't know what it was, or maybe he had that one fight on the fight night. Cortavious, on the other hand, he hasn't fought too many times in the UFC as well. So that one's tough. I'll go with Chang Ho Lee on that one. He does have a significant height advantage. 5'8", the other guy's 5'4". That should play a role a bit. More higher takedown average and higher significant strikes landed per minute. That's debatable because they're fighting sort of on the regional scene and stuff. So I don't know how they're counting that, or maybe they're counting that from his one fight, which that's even harder to gauge then if it's just one fight you're counting those stats for. And you got Kennedy Nzechukwu here taking on a Martin Buday. And at heavyweight, Kennedy Nzechukwu is an absolute monster. He looked really good in his last fight against Lucas Brzeski. Looked really good against Chris Barnett. So maybe this guy's found his home at heavyweight. Because at light heavyweight, he was having some hard times. He got knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. Got knocked out by that Korean guy, Dowoon Jung. Like he lost to Ovin St. Preux, age like 45. Ovin St. Preux out of shape. So, but he's been looking impressive his last two fights. So maybe he keeps that going into this one. Martin Buday fought Andrei Arlovsky here, and Andrei Arlovsky, that guy's been fighting since I was in high school. That guy has been in the trenches for a long time. I think even maybe elementary school, to be honest with you. I remember his fight with Cabbage Carrera and Tim Sylvia. Like, this guy's an absolute monster. When he had the vampire mouth guard, like Andrei Arlovsky was an absolute monster. They didn't call him the Pitbull for nothing. He was an absolute monster. Martin Buday barely squeaked out a win against him. It was a split decision win over like 50-year-old Andrei Arlovsky, so not impressive at all. I think he's 46 now is Andrei, so the fact that he just squeaked out a split decision win over a guy like Andrei, who's way, way over the hill. Maybe I don't even know why he's fighting. Maybe he loves it, doesn't want to let it go, or money, I don't know. Or maybe he has retired now, but I'm just saying that was his last fight against Andrei. So I got to go with Kennedy Nzechukwu just because of the fact that Martin Buday has not been impressing me at all in his performances. Brad Tavarez taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Great matchup, actually. Not bad. Probably should have been a little higher up maybe on the card. I don't know. Brad Tavarez, great striker. Good takedown defense. Not the greatest ground game. Gerald Meerschaert, not the greatest striking game, but pretty good ground game. So I would say this is like a grappler versus striker. Gerald Meerschaert's got some good submissions, good grappling. Brad Tavarez, very good striker. Well-seasoned striker on the feet. He's got a decent chin as well. I mean, he's been in some wars. Thing is with this Gerald Meerschaert fight, this is a tough fight for Gerald Meerschaert because Gerald Meerschaert likes to grapple. So he's going to be looking to take Brad Tavarez down because I think Brad Tavarez is going to have a significant striking advantage on the feet here. So both the guys are around the same age. That's great. So I give the striking edge to Brad Tavarez. Much better striker than Gerald Meerschaert. However, I give Gerald the grappling edge. Right? But Brad Tavarez has a very, very good takedown defense. That's the decision maker, right? The fact that he has very good takedown defense, very flexible, it's going to be hard for Gerald to get him down. And now you're going to be forced to strike with Brad Tavarez. If you can't get him down and now you're in his world, he's the better striker. That's why I am going with Brad Tavarez, because he does have really good takedown defense. So I got to go with Brad on that one. Therese, the Punisher, taking on Robert Valentin. This Torres, I seen him fight that once on the Contender, he had 2 fights on the Contender Series, so I remember this. His first fight, he did not get the contract. I remember now vividly. First fight in the Contender Series, he did not get the contract. Won the fight. Dana told him, he's like, you need to do something, Dana. Like, you need to go out there, finish this guy. On the next fight in the Contender Series, this guy came out completely different, completely destroyed the guy in the first round, ground and pound, finished the fight in the first round. Dana was like completely super impressed, and then he got his shot. So undefeated, 10-0, very, very good wrestlers, Torres Finney. I think he came up on the college circuit or something like that. So look out for his wrestling because he's a very high-level wrestler. Now you're taking on Robert Valentin. He's coming off a loss. The thing is, here is a significant height advantage. You got Valentin 6'2", Therese Finney 5'8". But the thing is, when you got a guy like Finney who's, he's going to level change and he wants to get under you. He wants to get in on the legs. So sometimes that's actually easier for the short guy because he's already underneath you. So he's just driving right through. He's already level changed on you almost. That's why if you're wrestling, sometimes it's hard to like double leg shorter guys because you got to get so much lower than them. So sometimes it's hard to take down shorter guys. And Therese Finney, he's, significant height disadvantage here, but for his style and what he's trying to do, wrestle, get on top, ground and pound, I think it's going to be fine. So I'll go with Therese on that one. Buday Osborne taking on Luis Garol. I seen this guy fight once on the Contender Series. He only had that one fight. He's never fought in the UFC. One fight on the Contender Series. It was a very close fight, but it was against a guy who had a pretty big height behind him, Nick Piccini. He was one of Daniel Cormier's students, I believe. Daniel Cormier, he used to wrestle with a DC, very high-level wrestler, was Nick. And then, they were both undefeated. I believe they were both 7-0 or 8-0, and then they fought each other. And Luis squeaked out a split decision victory, but it was over a very high-level guy. And, maybe he was 9-0 at the time, and now he's 10-0. And, now he's going to take out Buday Osborne. I think he should get the victory here. Clearly, he's the real deal. Fought another undefeated killer, Nick Piccini. Looked really good. But that's pretty much it. I mean, undefeated in his amateur career, undefeated in his professional career. Buday Osborne does have the experience edge. The issue here with Buday Osborne, and the issue I'm having with him, is he just has not been looking good lately, man. He's been looking awful, I'm not going to lie. Coming off 3 straight losses, and, 3 straight losses is tough. If you lose 4 straight, you're gone. And, he's lost 4 in his last 5 fights. And that one fight he did win was a very close split decision win. So if you didn't get that split decision win, you're on 4 straight losses. This one is going to make it 4 for sure because he's on 3 straight. Yeah, I just can't go with Buday Osborne. He's just not there, man. So that's clearly why he's a big underdog here as well. So I think Luis Garol should absolutely dominate him in this one. I'll go with Daniel Santos against Davey Grant. That's actually a close one. I'll go with Daniel on that one. Reese McKee, Daniel Frunza. I'll go with Daniel Frunza on that one. And the last one I'll give you a pick on is Victor Henry. I'll go with Victor Henry here against Pedro Falcao. And those are your picks for this upcoming card. Not bad. I mean, I'm more stoked about the next few for sure. But it is what it is. Hopefully, let's build that bankroll. And then time to go all in. UFC Miami, baby. Let's do it. Out.